So Dwight, how would you create a mystery RPG?
Yeah, as you know,
Yes, you do.
I love mysteries. I love reading mysteries. I love watching mysteries. During the pandemic, I bought like all of the Murder She Wrote.
Yes.
I'm not joking. Watched all the Sherlocks. I just love a good
Mm-hmm.
mystery. So I like to play a good mystery too. But people are like, man, how do you play a good mystery? It seems like you'd have to figure out who did it and then move it back. Well, the nice thing is, I'm not really talking about like a who did it mystery or who
Mm-hmm.
done it mystery, right? I don't care if the butler killed the guy. In fact, I mean, we're going to kill a bunch of people because, I mean, I am playing with a bunch of murder hobos, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but what I try to do is come up with like an overarching mystery.
Mystery.
And so one of the mysteries is like, there's this, one of the ones we played before is like, there's this corruption demon and we got to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how to do it. We don't know what it is. So I'd like to create a mystery where it's like you're finding out about something that's you totally unknown to you, and then
As
you
you
got to
go.
unravel it, figure out how to stop it,
Mm-hmm.
or even start it, depending on what it is. So in a lot of ways, like the hardest part of coming up with a mystery is like, what would you like your people to do?
Yes.
But you could almost turn almost any campaign to have
Into a
some sort of
mystery.
mystery element to it, right? So let's just talk about let's just start really small. Let's just talk about a mystery game session,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And one of our shorts was just recently like you come across an overturned cart with arrows in it, and there's blood kind of leading off into the woods.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a mystery. So
Mm-hmm.
your players can choose to just like, oh, that's a shame, and go on.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they're of some alignment that they're not like, that's a shame. They're like, we should go figure out what just happened here. And so they would start to investigate it for clues. Now, this is, I think, where things like games like Batman and The Witcher, where they have like some of that detective ability, is really kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool. So this is where like the most underused skill of all, like the survival, tracking, those sorts of things can come into play. Where it's like, okay, well, your person that has a lot of wilderness kind of lore, wilderness understanding, can start to look around
Mm-hmm.
and look at it and go, oh, well, there's like 3 sets of footprints here, and 2 of them came from here. So it looks like there was somebody riding, was driving the cart, and then 2 guys came up and killed this person.
Yeah.
There's the body. Then they opened up the cart, and there was like 2 children and a woman,
Well,
type
another
of
thing
thing.
that I would give wilderness skill, especially in a D&D world, to give it a
Yeah.
little bit more uses. So you have all those different like gnolls or the kobolds or the
Yeah.
goblin humanoid type things living in those woods.
Yep. Yep.
So you should be able to know, well, this looks like the gnolls did it because
Right.
well, they always rip the horse apart this way to grab
Yes,
this. They
yeah.
always drags people off for
Yeah.
this compared
They
to
they view the
orcs are
horse
just
heart as a
slaughtering.
delicacy, so
Exactly.
they always eat it. Yeah.
So now,
Yeah.
so now you can give the survival of, oh yeah, we know exactly who they did, but we
Yeah.
don't know where they're at.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's some things there. So then at that point you have your hook,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a couple of options now. And what are the options? Well, you can look at it like is make sure that you have footprints going off in different directions.
Yes.
So this party, like maybe it wasn't just 2 people, right? It was like it was a hunting party. So it was like 8 gnolls came across this through the town. This cart being driven by a man,
Mm-hmm.
and presumably, he's ferrying maybe his wife and 2 kids or whatever it is, right?
Yes.
He gets killed immediately. The horse gets down in such a way that you know it's the gnolls from what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see that the children are taken north, and the woman has been taken east, and there's a third party that went somewhere else. Like they went
Mhm.
like northwest, and you're like, okay, so what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? There's a party of 4 of you.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of you could go after one set, 2 of you go after the other set, or you can make the moral choice to determine that children are better than the one woman, or the woman is better than the 2 children,
Mm-hmm.
or the real moral choice of let's just go get the other guys that have no hostages because we think the hostages are already dead. Of course, the nice thing is with this, you could say that you don't think they've gone that far because the horse is still warm.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rigor mortis hasn't set in on the guy. Your cleric or other type of person with any kind of basic heal skills would know, not necessarily time of death, but they would be like, body's still warm and it's still pretty flexible. Like this
Yep.
isn't this didn't happen more than an
You
hour ago.
you can see
you
that
know?
their tracks immediately for all how many.
Yep.
You can see that their feet are moving in their
Right.
tracks, which is going to cause some variations, which can tell you they're struggling, which means they're alive.
They're still
when they
alive,
were
right.
getting drugged.
Exactly. So
To
you can
X
see all these
amount of-
things, right? So it's like, so you have these really cool things where all your skills can come into play to be like, okay, well, what do we do? Well, a good party would probably split.
Yep.
One go after the children, one go after the woman. So let's just play that. So now you've had two options, and now you're playing a split campaign, which isn't a bad thing. It's a little bit harder to run, but not that bad. What you do on a split campaign, we had an entire episode that covered this, but in a nutshell, what you do is you get right up to a cliffhanger for one section, and you go back and go to the other section, let them think about what they want to do with that cliffhanger decision, and then you do the same thing with the next group, and you just keep doing that until you can reunite them again. But again, in the last episode, we talked about like you start small for options, and you move out.
Yes.
And so that's kind of the idea. Start small, move out, and then come back in. So we're starting small. They've moved out with an option. And then what you can do is each party gets their own options as they go along. So let's just, I'm literally just making this up off the top of my head, but here's the thing, since it's a mystery. So they're tracking the group. One group has the tracker. Yay. Makes it easy. The other group does not. Most likely, because the chances of both your two people in the party having the tracking skill in some sort of way is probably pretty low.
Or it's something like he actually has proficiency in skill, and he pumped this.
Yeah, so he's good
I
to
just
go.
have maybe 6 ranks in it because it's just
Yeah,
what I got
it's
from my intelligence being so high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the wizard goes with the one party because he can know stuff, and the other guy is like going to the other party because he's like, well, I'm trained in it, you know. Like I grew up hunting with my father, and you know, like okay, yeah, perfect. And that's why you became a ranger or whatever. So fine. So the point is, you know, the one group's really easily tracked, and that means that the easily tracked group, they went like right back to the bandit camp, or the knoll camp or whatever, and now it's like, oh, there's a lot of people here, and so now you have a decision like, how do we rescue this person, right, without being seen, without all this other fun stuff. And then the other side of it is like maybe they're going to do a slave trade. They're going to sell this person into slavery, so they're kind of booking it maybe to a river passage or a sea passage where they know that they can actually meet some nefarious people to get some gold for this young woman, let's say. And so, perfect. So now how do we stop that? Right? Do they get there in time before they meet up with the bandits, or now is there like literally there's a slaver party? And then there's this other party, and it's like, there's only 2 of us. Can we really take on that many people? And so this kind of gives you an idea, like just the options and stuff. Okay, that's a quick example of a game session where you have a mystery pretty easily solved out.
Yeah.